All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our webinar, The Truth About Teenage Pregnancy. Me and my co-authors of There is a Jewel in You are here to shed a little light, a little truth, and a little encouragement about teenage pregnancy. We have all walked this journey, and we have collaborated together to write a phenomenal book titled There is a Jewel in You. So at the end, you will have the opportunity to visit our author's website and go ahead and pre-order your copy today. So we are super, super excited. So we are going to allow each author to introduce themselves, and then I'm going to come back and introduce our wonderful host. All right, so let's get it going. Miss Shakira, you up first, honey.
It will be me first. Okay, I'm Shakira Austin, a resident of Dover, Delaware. I attend an awesome church, Kingdom Vision Family Worship Center, where I am a part of the outreach. And most of all, I'm a young mother of two beautiful little boys. And I just hope that this reaches somebody in need today.
Come on, Miss Joy.
Hi, my name is Joy Avery. I live in the Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas area. I'm a member of Bridge Builders International Church, where my pastor is Dr. Jonathan L. Pack. I wanted to let you guys know that parenthood is the leading reason that teen girls drop out of school, and more than 50% of teen mothers never graduate from high school.
Rhonda, you guys are in the alphabetical order.
Hi, I am Rhonda Braden. I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and I am now a mom of 6 children. The state with the lowest teenage pregnancies in 2015 was Massachusetts. Thank you. I hope you all get a lot from this panel discussion.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tammy Laverne Jackson. I am one of the co-authors of this phenomenal anthology, There's a Jewel in You. And in 2015, a total of 229,715 babies were born to women aged 15 to 19 years old, for a birth rate of about 22.3 per 1,000 women in this age group.
Miss Ashley.
Me? I'm Ashley Thomas. I'm from Texas, and one of the facts of 2015 is that in Texas, we had a decline actually in our teen pregnancy rate, which is pretty awesome. I know everybody is giving the statistics of, you know, the probable cause, but I'm happy to say that Texas, it actually declined in 2015.
My name is Channesty. I am also from Texas. In 2015, Arkansas had the highest teenage pregnancy.
Calandra.
Hi, I am Calandra Williams. I live here in Dallas, Texas. And one of the statistics was birth control has declined the teen birth rates over the last 7 years.
All right, my name is Shantae Williams. I am in Columbia, South Carolina. And in 2015, Hispanics had the highest rate of teenage pregnancy.
And I live in Augusta, Georgia. And did you know that less than 2% of teen moms earn a college degree by the age of 30?
Miss Shanique?
And I don't think you guys heard me. Did you hear me speak? Okay, great.
Okay. Hey, I'm Shanice Cleckley, also from Columbia, South Carolina, Soda City. And forgive me for just coming on. So I hope this statistic has not been said, but 3 out of 10 American teen girls will get pregnant at least once before the age of 20.
So that is the majority of our authors. And now I'm going to introduce our wonderful host. She is none other than the phenomenal Miss Lady Ya out of Delaware. She is the CEO and founder of Made for Purpose. It is a women's organization where she teaches women everything about purpose and also teen girls. So I'm presenting to some and introducing to others, none other than my sister, Miss Lady Ya. It is in your hands.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for registering, for tuning in. Thank you, Shantae, for allowing me to serve you and these wonderful, amazing authors. I am so excited about being here, your story, and everything that you all are sharing, because I do believe that when you come out of something, it is your duty to reach back and bring somebody else out. So I'm excited that you ladies have made a decision to not just triumph over your story, but tell your story and help somebody else out along the way. So throughout the night, I'm excited to learn more about you, about your perspective and all of those great things. So we're going to go ahead and just get started. The first question that I want to ask to anybody that wants to answer is, how did your family deal with your pregnancy, right? As a teen mom, I know that a lot of times it can be hard, and I want to hear from some of you. How did your family deal with your teen pregnancy?
I can go first. For me, it was a generational curse for my family. So to be young and to have a baby wasn't anything that was out of the ordinary. And I had one of those do worse, but not, you can do good, but not better than me kind of families. So it became okay and hurrah for Shakira to be pregnant. Nobody thought about what it would do for my education. Nobody thought about how it would make it. Everybody just knew that I was having a baby, and that's what they had all done at a young age.
So it was almost like it was okay. It was the expectation. So you didn't have the backlash from everybody else. They kind of wanted you to do the same thing.
Yep.
Interesting.
My story would be just the opposite. My family, I was the hope. I was the scholar. I was the one that was going to college, and still did it eventually, but I was the one. And so for me, it was, deep disappointment, shame. I had to stand in front of the church and apologize. And it was just, you're shameful. You're a shameful child you are. And for me, that's what I went through.
Yeah. And it has to be tough, having to deal with everything that you dealt with, and then have to apologize for the decisions that you made, the mistakes that you made, and try to find your way along the way.
Right. It just caused me to withdraw from family, withdraw from a lot of people. And
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go next. When I got pregnant, it was actually a result of a rape. And then I did not tell my family until I was almost 6 months. So the shock of it all was more so than anything else of what to do and what to handle. So they did the best that they could based on what was happening. Some good stuff, some bad things. So it was more of a shock. Other people had gotten pregnant, but of course they never expected me because I was the straight A student. So most of my attitude came from my perspective was because of it was an emergency situation, more so than a promiscuity situation. It did turn into a lot of negative thoughts and negative things happening because of lies people told, untruths about things. And then when I moved to go to school, since I was in the 10th grade, a lot of the teachers where I moved, I didn't know had a high pregnancy rate. And when they saw me, they thought I was like the other girls who were just trying to get pregnant for a check. Because there were other girls who were 15-year-old when I moved to Alabama, when I got pregnant, who actually had 2 children or were on their 2nd child. So I blended into a statistic that wasn't even my own.
Wow. And it has to be a lot coping with that and dealing with all of that on top of learning your emotions, who you are, and all of that, the shame and being ostracized because you're coming into a community where, you know, this is the norm, but that's not your norm.
Exactly. And when I found out that, when they found out the type of student I was, so I still got straight A's, I was still in honors classes and still did all the things I needed to do. I actually had a teacher offer to adopt my child if it was going to be a girl. We didn't know, because she said that I was different and that I held myself different and did different things. And she had all boys and couldn't have any more children. And would I be willing to let her adopt my baby if it was a girl?
Interesting. All right. Anybody else want to take that question, or we want to go to the next one?
I'll take the question. For me, I didn't have a big family, so I was raised by my grandmother. So her finding out, of course, she was very strong-willed. She just kind of went with the flow. So I wasn't shamed, but I could tell she was disappointed in the decision that I had made. But she just made it work. She made it look easy, even though I know she was struggling financially to provide for both of us. But she just went with it. I really didn't receive a lot of affirmation from her, which was something that I really needed. But just her support, I think I was able to be able to survive and go forward.
Yeah. And I think that that's good, you know, and listening to that, a lot of times we may not get backlash, but we may not get support either in regards to emotional support. So a lot of times you need that affirmation that you still can be and that you still can do and that your life isn't over. Yeah. So I'm going to go with the next question. And it's kind of going to segue into it, going from how did your family deal with it? How did you feel when you first found out that you were pregnant? And then how old were you? Some of you kind of gave a little bit of that, but let's speak on that.
Okay, I can answer that question. I was 17 when I had my first child, and I actually was happy about the situation because I felt at the time, which I didn't understand, I was kind of left alone a lot as a teenager. Mm-hmm. My mom had remarried, so I had a stepfather who did not spend much time with me. I had two younger siblings that was his biological children, so he would take them and spend time with them, and my mom worked she worked from 7 in the morning to 11 at night. So I was pretty much as a teenager left alone. Then I had two older siblings. They got pregnant as teenagers and moved out. So I think for me, it was a confusion of seeking love and wanting someone to care about. And now I have this child. I can show her what love is, and that's what well, of course that happiness turned quickly as I really saw the reality of trying to raise a child. But initially that was my thought process. And then I was with the guy that I knew since I was 8 years old. We were high school together, and I really cared about him. And my mom, the first thing, she was disappointed. So the first thing she said was, "You guys got to get married." So then there was something else that wasn't ready for and that I did.
Yeah. And I think that so many of us crave attention, and we crave that love that's usually, I would love, I'm not sure whether you all have it, but I would love to know the percentages of people that were excited because it filled that void and it made you say, okay, now I have somebody that's going to love me no matter what, right? Because usually that's what we're looking for and that's what we're seeking and those things. But there are so many people that want that and that desire that. And that's how, we end up in some of the situations that we're in because of it, because we want that. While we do get to have that baby that gets to do all of those things and loves us unconditionally, we don't factor in the other things that go with that.
I'll take that question too. I was 14 when I got pregnant, 15 when I had my baby. And I really was in denial. I was an active, I played 3 sports. And so I had gone on for the summer. Me and my brother would normally either go to our grandmother's house, and that particular summer we went separate ways. And so I went with my aunt in Ohio, and he went with my uncle. I can't remember what state he was living in. And so that whole summer I was just in denial. And so when I got back, I went to my softball like nothing was going on. We was in a tournament, and it was like, okay, what you gonna do? Nothing. I'm going to play softball. And that, I mean, just literally in denial that, okay, you really have a baby growing on the inside of you, and pretty soon people are going to know. It's going to show. You know, the whole time thinking, okay, what happens? Because, you know, I played shortstop and then I play outfield. So what happens if you have to slide? What happens if you fall? What happens if you get hit with the bat? You know what I'm saying? All those things. And it's just like, I'm just going to play ball. I was in just literally denial and just literally scared.
Yeah.
Just scared to death.
I can imagine. And you want to keep some sense of normalcy, right? I just want to focus on being a teen, but there's a life growing inside of you.
Exactly.
So that's hard.
I'll take it too. I was actually 18 and had graduated high school. So my child was born my first year of college. My mom, I don't know that she was disappointed or, you know, excited either way, because she never really expressed her feelings. So I don't know what it was for her, but I did find out later that some of my male cousins were a little disappointed because I had become pregnant, but I didn't really know it until after my child was born. So, and then one of my cousins who had left and went to the Army, I knew she was upset because I had talked to her and she was expecting more from me because I was a good student too. So I guess disappointment. And then with like my mom, like I said, she didn't ever really express her emotions. So we never really knew how she felt.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else want to take that question?
I'll take the question. I was pregnant at the age of 15. I had my daughter at the age of 16. I immediately became filled with shame, just of what other people would think about me, my family, my friends that I went to school with, because it was shunned upon in the community, even inside of the church. I had heard so much, and I began to hear negative comments about me being pregnant so young, and so I just kind of shut off from the world. I was afraid to be a mother because I did not have the example of a mother growing up. So it was a scary feeling for me to take on this new role that I had no idea. It was like a foreign role to me, and I was a baby having a baby, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And it's a lot. It's a lot, again, to deal with as a teenager, getting grips on your own emotions, how to communicate, and all of those things. And we retreat to what we know. And for some of us, that's shame. For some of us, that's denial. For some of us, it is excitement. You just never know. The next question is, did your relationship change with the father of your child after you found out you were pregnant?
I can answer that. If I could just give you a synopsis, you know, me and the father of my children, we were just in party mode, and our relationship was built off of party mode. We would have a good time and we would have each other, and somehow we got convinced that that was a relationship when it really wasn't. It was us abiding our flesh, and that's about it. Like, that's all we were doing. But the minute I found I was pregnant, I remember telling him, you know, it's a positive pregnancy test, and he went back in the room and he laid down and he went to sleep. He said nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was no joy. There was no anger, no nothing. It's like he kind of went numb and he just rolled over and he went back to sleep. And throughout the pregnancy, I found I was the only one paying for things for the baby. I was the only one buying clothes, cribs, spending every check and every last dime that I had, dropping out of school to do it, whereas he could still do what he wanted. He was able to come home with a $300 pair of sneakers, but had yet bought his son an outfit. And that just showed me who he was as an individual, and as not being ready and as being young. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, seeing how he didn't want to help me take care of our children made me and his relationship turn sour, because now I'm looking at you not as just a man, but as a parent and as a co-parent and not helping me. So it changed our relationship a lot. And as two people, we're still trying to mend a co-parenting relationship.
Yeah. The weight of responsibility.
Well, because mine was a little different, I didn't have to see him to tell him I was pregnant, because he was actually in prison for another crime, or in jail for another crime of statutory rape of another young girl. Wow. And so he also had some armed robbery things that were going on with him. So when I had my baby, when I had my daughter, his parents came to visit. I moved from South Carolina to Montgomery, Alabama. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, I lived with my aunt, my uncle, and my cousins, because I wanted to get away from the environment. Plus, my mother was like, do you want to get away? And I said, sure. So I did. I had her in a military hospital in an Air Force base there, and I was by myself. It was natural. Nobody was in there. She came out in the middle of the hallway, and I'm 15 years old, and I didn't know what was going on. Got the nurse yelling at me, and why didn't you tell me the baby was coming? I said, how am I supposed to know? I never had a baby before. So all I know is I felt relief.
Yes.
That's it. I'm good.
And I wanted to feel that relief.
I wanted to feel relief. That's all I knew. So his parents came up, but he didn't get a chance to see his daughter for a good years or so, about a year or so, and then he came by sporadically. It is very actually difficult now, because my daughter's 28, and he has completed his life cycle of prison and in and out, and we share a granddaughter. So the things that I could have experienced when I was 15 and 16, I have to now experience at 43. So the very first time that I saw him about 4 years ago, it was like a ghost, because you were out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. I didn't have to see you for 20-something years. So I imagine that those feelings that I felt were what I would have felt if I had to see him.
Yeah.
And so now I'm still in an adjustment period, because we have to share, and I have to look at you. And I have to share my daughter that I did not have to share for 25 years.
Tell me if I'm getting too much into the book, but how is that for your daughter? Does she know, how by which she was conceived, or is it one of those things where you chose not to tell her and just let her build a relationship with her father?
I chose not to tell her when she was younger, because I did not know how to tell her. Mm-hmm. And I made a decision that it was not her fault that her daddy was a fool. And so in that particular aspect, I raised her and everything else. I allowed him to call my house every 2 weeks, collect. I sent him report cards. I sent him pictures. I remained on his visitation list, even though I didn't have to go. Her grandparents took her. So she knew who he was. She knew everything that happened. It was 2 years ago when she found out, and he told her. I didn't tell her. I was livid, because I'm like, why did you tell her? What I told her was that mommy made a bad decision. I did take the blame. I did not think that she was going to be ready, and she wasn't. She went through a depression. She went through where she had to have someone to counsel her, because she couldn't understand why I wasn't mad. She couldn't understand why I actually would talk to him. And we've had situations where I've helped him do different things. And I had to tell her, I said, baby, when I tell you about Jesus and when I tell you about things that I'm doing, I'm not lying. It truly is the Holy Spirit that I don't choke him and cuss him out every time I see him. It is truly healing that I have, that I'm not looking at him and saying, you joker, do you remember what you did? So
I don't know nobody else that got the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. So, it's truly, and the fact that my husband doesn't say, yeah, that kind of thing. But he's a changed man. So I will have to say he has changed to try to do the things that he needs to do. I still hadn't got my apology, but I ain't holding out for it. But it does. Every time birthday parties come up, I'm like, oh, okay, here you come, creeper. So, I have to renew my mind every time I see him. Every time.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for sharing. All right, who's next? Who's next? Did the relationship with the father change after the pregnancy?
Yeah, I'll take that question. It did change, but not because of him. It changed because of me.
Okay.
I kind of had problems. He was okay with it. He was great. He was, happy. I was kind of confused as to how he could be so happy. We were still in high school. He was one grade above me, 1 year older than I was. I was scared half to death because I had to go home and tell my mom. He walked right in and told his parents, like, it was just like, oh yeah, I'm playing football, something like that. He was real nonchalant, casual, had no kind of fear. Me, on the other hand, I was shaking in my boots. I was like, my mom's gonna boot me out on my head. She's gonna choke me. She might send me to an early grave. Then I started thinking about what my grandmother was gonna say, what she was gonna do, what my aunts were gonna say. Not only that, I was I had a 3.8. I wasn't really sure if I was ready for the responsibility, but I knew at the end of the day, I was gonna have to gear up and get myself in position to take the role. I was, like I said, confused. I didn't know whether to be happy. I didn't know whether to be sad. I just know that, everything's about to change for me and I got to get ready for it. Him, on the other hand, he was just a little too happy for me, and I was very uncomfortable with it. I'm like, why are you so happy? And I got to the point where I used to get mad at him, you're too happy for me. I don't understand what's going on. You're not supposed to be this happy. You're supposed to be mad and upset and confused just like I am. And he was just like gung-ho. You would have thought, somebody gave him a moped for Christmas or something. I don't know. He was just really happy, and it was just unusual for me.
Too much for you. You're like,
yeah,
I
couldn't even deal. I couldn't deal. I mean, when I got home, I knew I was, it was like pack your bags, you're on your way out the door. He was like walking in there like it was an everyday thing. Like, babies just fall out of the sky in his house or something. I don't know. But I was petrified.
Was it one of those where, like, it was okay in his family? Like, he wasn't the first young person that they made it feel, was it a normal?
It wasn't. No, his parents his mom was very gentle. Her spirit was like very, she wouldn't raise her voice. His dad was kind of like the quiet grunt type. He would just sit there and just look and just grunt. He never said anything, like, he would just grunt, like, he was just like, his family was really good about it. The only question his mom had was, are you sure it's yours? And at that point, I was flying through the roof like, what do you mean? Is he sure it's his? He's running around here like you just gave him $1 million. He's all happy. What do you think? But it was something that I guess I expected because I have 5 sons. I've never questioned if my son came home and said, Mom, this is my kid, she's pregnant. I never said a word because I always tell them, if you were at the scene of the crime, then you're a suspect, so I never had that question, but it just bothered me a little bit that instantly it was, are you sure it's your child? I'm like, why can't it be, why does it have to be that way? But then again, it's like that, I guess, all over because young people are, I guess, promiscuous to the point of where today they're with this person, tomorrow they're with somebody else. So I guess that's what I should have expected, but it kind of made me go through the roof. I was kind of, to say angry would be the least,
And I think that question has been around for years.
Mm-hmm.
That question.
Like he's so great, you want to trap him.
and that's what it is. My son is so great that I'm gonna look at you and blame you. Like, y'all weren't in the room together.
Exactly.
But I have to make sure, son, are you sure that this is yours?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, because I've raised you so well and I know better than that.
Exactly.
But he was so excited that was a clear indication
mm-hmm.
that it was his.
Yeah. And the relationship changed, like I said, because it was more on my end. It wasn't anything that he did. He was great. He really was. Even to this day, him and I we're still really good friends, which surprises a lot of people. He wasn't involved with my son from the onset not because of anything he didn't do, but because of my mom. She was the barrier in between us. And she was the reason why the relationship didn't go where I wanted it to go or where he wanted it to go, because she was right there, the roadblock. She was she was the one that stopped a lot of stuff. It was really because of that. Other than that, he was pretty good. He was, like I said, a little bit too happy for me, but he was pretty good. But the relationship changed because of I believe, outside interference.
Got it. All right.
I'm going to take it too.
Go ahead.
But I'm going to say that I believe at the beginning he was excited, and then when my son was born, he came to the hospital one time. But again, those male cousins who didn't want me to be pregnant in the first place threatened him, so we didn't see him again for a really long time. And it was actually, he never came to our house or to see my son. They actually went to a carnival when he was maybe about 12 or something. And my sister took them to the carnivals, and she goes, "There's your dad over there." So it never really worked out. I don't know what they told them or what they said they were going to do, but I think my son's only seen him maybe 3 times in all of his life, and he's 33 now. So.
Wow. Your cousin said something.
Yeah, those were some scary guys. And, this was in the early 80s. So there was still the time when, those kinds of things were really happening.
Yes, and you say, "All right, player, I'm going to go on this way," and keep it going and kind of go from there. So, but at some point, you gotta face your responsibility. So, but so we're gonna move on to another question, and I want to ask, how did you balance being a young mom and going to school?
I'll take that question. So for me, my daughter's his family were very supportive, and one of the things they told me is that I had to graduate, like it was mandatory. So for me, they watched my daughter, but as soon as I got home from school, they gave me my daughter, and I had to hold her in one arm and have a pencil in my book in the other arm, and trying to like figure out. It was hard. It was difficult. I was frustrated. I would cry. And just be like, why can't someone keep her for at least 2 hours until I get finished? They're like, this is your baby. So it was a challenge for me being 15 and trying to balance all of that, but I made it.
That's right.
I think age-wise, I was a bit different, and I was older than a lot of the ladies when I got pregnant. I found out I was pregnant when I was 20, and I was in my freshman year of college, just started, was excited. I was actually just got into the first semester when I found out. And for me, I don't have my mom, and I don't have my dad, and I don't have an outside support system. So it became, are you going to not have any money, Shakira, to raise this baby and go to school, or are you going to work full time and do what you have to do as a parent? So I had to give up and put what I wanted to do on the back burner as far as college to have my son and to work full time. So that's where I noticed all our stories kind of don't relate as far as age, but I did happily, by the grace of God, graduate before I had my first child. But it was hard. It was hard having to make that decision of choosing to get my degree. And now I'm doing that later in life, but with the benefit of having a home and things to care for my children.
Yeah. And I think that even though you guys are in different spaces as it relates to that, you still face some of the same difficulties. And I think that, tonight was about, you're not a statistic. So, by the grace of God, she was able to finish high school, and you're still at a place where you still have the tenacity and the wherewithal to still go back to college. And that's letting, teen moms know that it doesn't matter what you go through, you can still do what it is that you need to do. Right? So let's hear from somebody else about it being difficult, or the balance.
I'll go ahead and chime in. It was different for me simply because, one, I was a preacher's kid, and so not only the stress of trying to balance school, but the stress of all the extra, when I made it home. But times that I figured out a system, like days that I couldn't go to school or days that I didn't have someone to babysit, I knew what classes I could take my daughter to. And so I would take her to those classes, and I had like the most amazing homebound teacher, because the classes that I so happened couldn't take her to, she had conference periods. So I would just push a little car seat in there and she would watch her. And so just figuring it out. The hardest thing was just trying to stay awake in class. And I'm the type of person, like, I really have to get my rest then. But it was a struggle. But at the same time, I think what drives me is just people not believing in me, people saying that I can't do something. I don't like really hearing I can't do something or whatever. And so that's just the fuel and the gas to put in my car and go forth. And so I just figured it out. She would be at the pep rally with me. I remember my best friend right here, Chan, we both had our daughters like at our pep rallies, like, so we just figured it out. We made it happen.
I love it. Figure it out and allow for, the no to be your fuel. I love it. Hey, best friend.
Hey, girl. How you doing?
All right. So next question. After this question, I want to kind of shift gears to talk more about the book and all of that. So we talked about a little bit about you personally and the struggles that you have. So we're going to shift gears because I want to be mindful of time and talk about the book now. So my question is, why did you join the anthology, There Is a Jewel in You? What made you decide that it was your time to join this project?
For me, it was the idea of finally having a voice. It was the fuel to want to help other young girls by letting them know that, it is a struggle. Maybe it could curb their decision and help them make some better decisions by relating my story, my experiences, because I didn't have that. I didn't have anybody to sit down and say, listen, this is really, really hard. You're going to have to balance. You're going to have to give up a couple of things. Things are going to change for you drastically. This is not, I heard the phrase, this is not a toy. I mean, I was aware of that. It was a live, screaming, wailing baby. I knew it wasn't a toy. It wasn't a baby alive. I knew that, I couldn't just put fake food in it and it's going to, bring out water. I knew it was a living, breathing thing. But for what I've seen, this whole project just gave me a voice, finally, to have a voice and relay my experience as a teen parent, which I never had that outlet. I was there, you saw me with a baby, but nobody ever really cared to say, what are you going through? What's happening with you? How are you taking this? It was just like, okay, you got a baby now, keep going, just go. So for me, it gave me that outlet to finally, deal with some things that I didn't deal with at 16 when I got pregnant and 17 when my son came into the world.
Yes. Awesome.
It's the education piece. I've been an educator for 10 years. I'm a realtor, but I'm an educator. And I have had the opportunity to work with kids from different socioeconomic backgrounds. And so I've seen the girls that are affluent who are getting caught in the restroom, but they have the support to get out of their situations. Mm-hmm. And then I have my little homegirls, the babies who look at me as a mentor and they think that I have it all together. And what really caused me to join this story is I have I can't turn it up. I don't know how to turn the computer. But I have a student who she just attached herself to me. I left the district and she continued to attach herself to me. She found me on Instagram and everything else. And we were talking one day. I was, I guess, counseling with her unofficially. And she had shared with me some things that she was going through. And I said, well, I went through a similar circumstance and I ended up with a baby. And she was just taken aback. And I realized at that moment that people think because we know how to cover up our scars, people think that you have it together. She said she could not believe that I didn't have an intact family and a mommy and a granny, because she thought this was just her that was going through this really broken situation. Yeah. And when I told her just a little bit of what I've been through, she was floored. And I thought, wow, just the junk that I've been through in my life and the struggles that I've had mean something to somebody else and might be able to pull them out. And so that's why when I heard about this from a friend who about a business, we hooked up on a business venture. And when I heard about this anthology, I thought, man, maybe I can help educate some girls too. Because if you're anything like me, when you get into a bad situation, you would just withdraw yourself. And the worst person to get information from is yourself when you don't know any better. So,
yeah, yes, absolutely. I love it, to educate them, to have a voice. What else?
I can piggyback off that because I'm now an educator myself. I mean, all I've ever done is work with kids, but I'm officially an educator. So I originally did not want to do this anthology just because I don't like to be in the spotlight. I've been quiet this whole entire time because I don't want to say anything,
Best friend you had.
But I joined because my best friend, was just telling me, it's a good opportunity for you to, you can reach people by just talking to them. We have similar situations. I've been through a lot of stuff, and I am an educator in the community that I grew up in. So I know a lot of kids. I know their parents. So it's a lot easier for them to, see me doing things and, I have 4 kids now, but having my kids and going to school and, going to basketball practice and, going here and going there, when I got to be in 3 different places at one time, you know what I mean? And I'm okay. I'm making it, and for them, because they might not see that kind of stuff at home. So it's easy for them to be able to come and say, I don't know how you do it. Can you help me or can you show me what to do? And so, I really, really, really appreciate being able to do that. And so that's why I said I would agree to do it, because I know that I can really help somebody else,
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you're still in the community and get to help the children of your classmates, right? To not make those decisions or to have a confidant. I absolutely love that.
Well, I started it only because Shantae asked me. Also, seriously, and because it was another writing opportunity. I really didn't think about it. Not that I didn't take it seriously at first, but it was more so okay, I'll write. Then I got to realizing that, which is a part of my story, is I never called myself a teen mom. I realized I was a teen mom. I really realized that I was when my daughter, she told me I was a teen mom when she was 10. She said, Mommy, do you realize that you had me when you were 15? I said, you know what? Matter of fact, I did. I was floating through life. It was like, okay, I had a baby and you move on. So I stayed numb for several years. So writing this helped me to be able to, after I really got into it, to shed another light on why or how a girl can be pregnant. And understanding that all girls who get pregnant are not pregnant just because they were doing it, and just because they were fast, and just because, she wanted it. I didn't. Not that I never thought about it before, but at this particular time, I didn't. So it then became something that was a part of who I am. I've been a mother longer than I have not. So there would not be a time where I'm not a mother. Yeah, I just sent my 4-year-old upstairs crying. So we started all over again, doing grown folks things again. You would think I would have learned.
Ooh, and you said your daughter is how old?
28, honey. Can you believe that foolishness? I got a 28-year-old. We blended our family. 28, 20, 17, and 4. Doing grown folks things with my husband. I declare. You think, see, I should have had this show before.
Listen, I have a 13-year-old brother. And so I'm looking at you because
your mom and daddy were doing grown folks things too.
Grown folks. I told them when I started they were supposed to stop. But I digress.
My grandchild is older than my child. She said,
we have a blended family. Our grandchild, we have a 2-year-old, and we have a 26, a 9, and a 2.
See that?
Grown stuff with grown your husband.
Stuff. So I'm gonna be on AARP with this dog.
I just got a 10-year-old, y'all.
That's it. That's all you got.
Ain't
You
nothing landed over here but me and
Listen, when I go pick my baby up from school when she in high school, they gonna be like, your grandmom's here.
That's why I wear my wig to cover my gray. I cannot be the old lady.
Listen, I'm gonna be 53 and she gonna be 16.
I lost weight so I wouldn't be the old fat lady picking up your child. I mean, really, come on now. That's just a hot mess.
Yeah.
So I have to keep it nice and
come on, weight loss.
I just can't do it. I can't.
You got a 4-year-old. I have an 8-month-old. I have a 2-year-old.
See.
It's gonna be okay.
Okay.
They gonna grow up. They'll grow up.
They're gonna grow up, but not.
They said that's not the same. That's not the same.
I got one fixing their own sandwich and one on their business, and one want to eat everything I got and want to be on my leg at all times. I would.
Best friend, you don't understand. I got AARP letters coming to the house.
Yes.
I cannot have AARP letters coming to the house and Similac at the same time. And this little 4-year-old joker asked me, Mommy, you gonna have another baby? No, man, no, sir. You better save that. I'm gonna bring him to your house.
Tell them that we don't cuss in your house.
I told him the devil is a lie. A lie. And
from the pit.
What? Yes, praise God for Morena.
No, praise God, they can cut your tubes. You don't have to, you don't have to have them no more.
I'm a part of that ministry.
No more for me. No. I got fixed. I'm working on my husband getting fixed. No more for us. No.
Now, caveat, teen mamas, when y'all see this, please don't think that, we are anti-children.
We aren't.
I love our children.
Right.
I like them. It's just sometimes
they get on your nerve.
When you start young and you live through life, and then all of a sudden you start life over again, it's very different from starting life over again. I had more help as a teen mama than I did as a 43-year-old. Everybody was wanting to make sure that Shanice went to college and did everything. But now that I'm tired and I have not slept a night in 4 years straight, they said you and your husband knew what y'all were doing. See, I got a stupidity factor at 15. I don't have that at 43.
No, you don't. You don't.
So you're just tired all around.
Just tired.
Tired now.
Tired. Not even tired.
Tired now.
I need everybody to schedule a nap.
Girl, nap. Nap in real life.
Ashley, we know that sleep is important to you. You made that very clear. Okay? And with a 10-year-old, you can dip off and do that.
Naps don't happen in real life. No.
In real life. They don't happen in real life. No, they don't. No. Only for Ashley.
That's why I wrote my part of the book at 2:00 in the morning when it's quiet.
Yeah.
That's the only time. We had someone come on and said, wake yourself up at 4:30. I said, I just went to bed at 2. How am I wake up at 4:30?
What? You better tell them you just went to bed at 2.
I had to drown that joke off. I said, I'm sorry. That's for other people.
But listen, just look at it this way. Your time was just reversed. You let your hours go over past midnight.
Nearly. And I trust to be a nurturing wife and mama, be making breakfast and dinner and stuff. I don't know what's wrong with me. I need to be a deadbeat. I really do. I think I'm going to start being deadbeat.
You going to start being deadbeat?
Because I done got you jokers spoiled. I'm working. I'm cooking and everything. I'm going to sleep like Ashley.
Okay. I have Ashley's ministry. We don't see, this is late for me. So know that I love you all because I'm on my second dream by now. The second one.
You're dreaming of loveliness.
Yeah, I'm on my second one now. I got you at 5 a.m. Anything you need, 5 a.m. I'm up, ready. I love you.
I don't sleep very much. I'm an insomniac and I have kids. So, if I get 3 hours, I'm good.
Yep, that's me too.
Yeah,
that's me too.
3 hours, I'm okay.
We ain't best friends on that part.
No. Mm-mm. So, all right.
The nurse is shaking her head going, mm-mm.
Huh?
The nurse is shaking her head, mm-mm. Charlie is the nurse like,
hey, if I get 8, I don't oversleep.
Charlie, everything that you subscribe to and I do. I can't go on. I need 7. 7. I push for 7.5, but we don't go under 7. And no. Mm-mm. Yep.
That's not your calling.
Huh?
That's not your calling, First Lady.
It is. Y'all better pray heaven down in the morning for you. If the enemy mess with you at night, I'm just that prayer from 5 a.m.
John Gray book is your ministry, the number 8.
And she ain't lying because she be up early with a prayer on Facebook Live.
And 5 a.m. gonna hold you over when you need it at 2 in the morning.
Yes.
I promise you.
You need a text, a prayer, anything. She got you early.
I got you. 11 p.m. Baby, the Lord told you to call on your own. Use everything He taught you.
That's what he say, late in the midnight hour.
You're going to turn it around, but you got to use everything that you learned in church and in Bible study at that hour.
So when they had them overnight prayer sermons, what were you under the bench sleep?
Listen, I did mine first.
First thing in the morning, she means. First thing in the morning.
Can I walk the room first? I got you the first go round. Give me the mic first.
Joy! Joy in the morning.
In the morning. In the morning. The real morning.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So I need for you guys to describe how you felt when you were writing your story. Describe how you felt when you were writing your story.
For me, I think it was a season of the mask coming off. I had been able to kind of bits and pieces kind of tell people that I was a teen mom, but I hadn't went in depth of what I had been through. So writing this was really just a season for the mask to come off and to deal with the shame and the guilt and the hurt and the pain that I had been carrying around for so long. Even just kind of sharing with my daughter a lot of what I dealt with her father. I tried to really protect her from knowing what really had happened in the relationship, but I felt that she was at an age now, 15, that she could understand it. So she read my story and I asked her, I said, well, how do you feel? And she's like, I kind of already knew, Mom. But it was just very liberating to know, okay, I don't have to be ashamed and I don't have to hide this part of who I am anymore, because it's going to be out for the world to see and even for my family to read it.
Yes.
I like to say something about that. So initially, when we did the first draft, I kind of written some things. I was trying to write a book over 10 years. So I kind of had some stuff already. So it was just a quick little edit overview. But when I had to go through it and really put some edits, it took me back to things that I thought that that I had put away. And actually it brought up so many memories, and I said to myself, wow, I went through that. I did this. And so it brought up some things, but I was able to get to a point where I was so grateful that God had brought me to this point. It really brought things to life for me, because it even got to a point that I had to stop and say, hey, now I didn't grow up as heavily in the church like I am now. And I know I had to prepare myself, because some people that are in my church are going to read this. They're going to know what I actually went through, you know.
Mother will be okay.
Yeah, and they see me totally different. They see me all polished up, intercessory praying on Sunday morning.
Come on.
They're ready to see some things, and I'm okay with that.
That's where the oil come from anyway.
Yes, I am okay with that. And then on the other part, I had to prepare my children. I have adult children from 22 to 29, 4 adult children. So this stuff, they have no idea. They have no clue. So I kind of had to, I think there was one post we had to put out, and Shantae, I always want to change her name, just such a great job in putting out this post. And I kid you not, I was scared to put it out. because it exposed me so much that I had to first send it to my children first. And I say, look, you're going to see this on social media. So I got to know where you are with it. And they were okay with it. But it really, this is it. This is me. And I'm okay with that. I have, it was a healing opportunity to heal really where I wasn't healed. So.
Yeah. And it's liberating, you know, like when you get past that, the mask and all of that stuff, and God has freed you and healed you, you don't really, I mean, not that you don't care what people think, but in a sense, you know, they battle with something too. Yours may not have been teen pregnancy, right? You may have made a decision to do something else, but we all have our stuff. We all have something that has made us who we are, and we have a story to tell. Yep. Best friend, come on.
Okay. Initially, I was afraid because, you know, yes, I was a teenage parent, but it's something that we really just didn't, you know, it happened and we kind of just moved past it. Like my family didn't want to talk about it. They disowned me, you know. So here I am, you know, now I'm kind of, you know, I'm going back around my family a little bit more, you know, kind of getting back with everybody and stuff like that. So I was just afraid that, you know, okay, so now I'm going to say certain things, or, you know, this is my story. This is how I felt. This is what I, you know, how I felt about it, how I seen it, you know, how it was for me in real life. And I just automatically assume, you know, they're going to be mad and then they disown me again. You know, they won't talk to me anymore, and my kids, and, you know, but then, you know, I prayed about it. I talked to Ashley about it. And I mean, it's my story. You know, it doesn't matter what they think at this point or how they feel. You know, it's about what I think and how I felt about it at the time. You know, so, I mean, you know, writing it, I was angry, bitter, you know, I was sad. Sometimes I was sad about it. I'll talk to my husband about it, you know, because he knows a little bit, but not, you know, everything. So I was just kind of talking to him. And one thing he told me, a word of advice he told me that now, because I made so many mistakes in my life, I want to be a perfectionist. And he said that, you know, for you to get this out the way it's supposed to be, you're not going to be able to make it perfect. You're going to have to just tell it how it is and, you know, leave it at that. And how they take it is how they take it. You know, if they don't support you, you know, that's not something new to you, you know. So, you know, just walk, you know, with God and just know, you know, that this is the right thing.
Absolutely. And it's not about your family, like you said. It's about that teenage girl right now that doesn't know how to move forward. It's about that teenage girl that thinks that her life is over, that is possibly being disowned or shunned or all of that, and getting coping mechanism and getting liberation and getting the tools to be able to move forward. So it's, you know, it's about those that are assigned to you, so to speak. So it's about them. If your family never pick up the book, the teenager that's supposed to will pick it up.
Right. I'll go ahead and chime in on it as well. For me, it was difficult going back to those places, but the most important factor for me was making sure that I didn't write out of hurt, that I didn't write out of anger, because oftentimes telling our truth can sometimes damage other people. And it's not to protect, but it's to be tactful. It's to do it with integrity. It's to do it humble. It's not to do it to hurt. So sometimes telling our truth, we often get lost in exposing people, and it's not the best thing. So you have to be careful how you word things, because you don't want to write from a hurt place. And I think Joseph got on and talked to us about that. And so that's why I was steady going back, like, okay, is this something that's going to hurt the next person? Is it something that, you know, because I didn't want it to sound that it was coming from a hurt place. I want to tell my truth, but I want to be very tactful in doing it and be led by God with every word that I use, because at the end of the day, we can be a hindrance to a person that is trying to be restored. Or like my father, he's a pastor, and something I could say could taint a member's, you know, opinion of him, and that's not what I want to do. So I had to be very cautious of the things I said and make sure it's not this feminist movement, because you know, we can get up here and we boast and encourage and empower broken women are empowering other broken women. And it oftentimes we don't tell them how to be humble, how to sit back, how to be led by men. We uphold them and say, yeah, you be the head, you be this roaring woman, you bounce back, you do all this. But at the end of the day, God created us, you know, to be with man. And so just making sure I stayed in my place and I did it gracefully.
Gracefully. That's right. And I think that that's important, that you don't do it from that hurt place, that you get the healing that you need first, because you want to tell your story from your perspective, but you also want to make sure that it's not sugared in all of the stuff that you've been through and that kind of stuff, that it is just the truth, right? And at the end of the day, that God gets the glory, that it's not a book that's kind of like a juicy novel that you're saying,
yeah,
she said this and then she said that and then we did this. It's not about the little details. It's about how I overcame this thing.
Right.
Yes. Thank you. I want to, for the sake of time, I know that we were being respectful of time and it's 10:03. So I want to ask this last question, and then if there's any questions from the audience or anybody. What is one thing that you want mothers to know in order for them to be successful? And I will ask that everybody answers this question. What is one thing that you want young mothers to know in order for them to be successful?
I'll go first. One thing I definitely strive to tell all the teen moms, the thing I stress the most is the mind, because I understand the turmoil and the torture that I've put myself through with the mind and the back and forth, and I do understand this is the way I was conditioned, this is the way I was raised, but trying to get out of all of that and just rest in him, you know. And so when they say be careful of the mind, the eyes, the things you see, the environments you're in, you have to be careful, because our eyes can be deceptive. You know, our eyes can see things that is not really there, and so then that manifests to our mind. And so you have to protect your mind. You have to protect the things that you're looking at. You have to protect the environment that you're in, because the mind is the most important thing outside of the heart.
That's right.
I would say that everything seems impossible until it's done. So you don't actually know what you can do, and so you have to do it. You know what I mean? So to never give up. That's just for me. That's never been an option. Keep going no matter how hard it is. No matter how rough the road may be. You know, there's always an end. But just keep going. You know, pray about it and talk to somebody. You know, never just try to deal with things on your own. Talk to, no matter, you know, who is it from. It's your, you know, I mean, an adult. But, you know, if it's not your parents, you know, talk to somebody, teachers, you know, pastor, first lady, somebody, you know, so that you're not feeling all alone. Because, you know, right now, you know, you see so many young kids committing suicide. Had they just, you know, been able to talk to somebody,
yes,
that may have, you know, changed the way they thought about what they were going to do. You know, so just always, you know, talk to somebody.
I would have to say, don't be mediocre. You do not have to subscribe yourself to the way that other teen moms are acting. For instance, if you see the teen moms who don't want to take anyone's advice because they're using their child as a possession, and they think that they're using that child to, don't tell me what to do with my child, this is my child, because you're feeling hurt of your circumstance, and you can't tell me how to raise my child because you think now that you're grown and you have no other recourse but to do it. You are grown, as far as you did some things that now you must take responsibility. But that does not mean that you're alone. And that does not mean that you can't have wisdom helping you. And that does not mean that someone is against you just because they're giving you advice. It may not come across the way that you want it to, but evaluate where it's coming from, see what's happening, and then understand you don't have to act like the single mama, teenage mama syndrome that you see on TV and emulate the foolishness that goes on. You are a woman who is now a mother. You are a person who your child is looking at in order to get everything that they need to. Would you want them to act like that? Are you going to teach them that? So don't be mediocre. Rise up above pettiness and rise up above what you see that may appear to be pettiness and get out your feelings, because someone is there to help you, and don't always act in your feelings.
I would say, what I would have to say is a lot of people see our children as mistakes and as bad decisions that we have made. But use those babies as a breakthrough. Use them as a mechanism to be a better you than you can ever be. I know my children pivot me to be a woman that they'll want to say, I want to marry a woman one day like my mama. So at the end of the day, even though it's hard and even though it's a struggle and some days ain't going to be great, but at the end of the day, when you look into those little faces, they should pivot you and push you to want to thrive and to be a better person and a better woman of God and just better all around. So use your children just as much as they use you, because they're looking to you for strength, for encouragement, for love, for admiration. And even though you feel like you may have not received those things in your story, even though you may have not received those things throughout this process from the Father or whomever, they need that from you. And they need you to build onto you. So get your healing, get your wholeness. Do this while they're young, so you're not inflicting them as they grow. I'm working on not leaving my children with resentment for not being healed and being whole. So right now I'm working on loving them so much that I'm gonna be a whole woman, and they're gonna understand what a whole woman looks like. So take the time to heal, take the time to be whole, take the time to love them wholly.
I'll go next. I would say to them not to badmouth the other parent in front of the children and try to keep discussions between adults versus involving the children, to make sure that you protect the children, because once they know how you feel about dad or mom, then those children express those same feelings. And we want them to learn to love their parents the best way that they know how, without another's opinion.
Okay, I'll go next. One thing I would say, well, say a couple of things, but one thing I really would say is that you have to let your children know verbally as well that you love them. You need to say that. You need to be able to say that to them. I know my mom loved me, but I only heard it twice growing up before I lost her. And I raised my children. They weren't. I have 2 grandkids. My oldest has 2 children. She wasn't a teen mom. But one day I was on the phone talking to her, and she was dropping her children off, and she said, "Hold on, Mom." And she told them she loved them. And I almost just broke down then, because it is so important that your children know that you love them. You show that to them, and you say it verbally, and you protect their environment. Yes. You don't put them in harm's way of people. It can even be family, friends. You do not put your children in harm's way, and you will know that. So you need to protect your environment and your headspace, the negativity, because we conform to our environments, where we are, who we're running with, and you want it to be a good place for your children to be able to thrive. So that's what I would tell them.
I would suggest that the young ladies, as well as the young men, maintain their personal identity. Don't lose yourself in the process. Know who you are and define success by your own perception, not by everybody else's opinion. Don't let anyone else define what your future is going to be for you. Yes. You make the decision, you set your own goals, and then you put the plan in action to get to where you need to be. And I also just say I agree with everything that all the ladies said up until this point. All those things are awesome points that the young people need to take in consideration on this process?
I would say for young moms to know their identity. I think Tammy kind of touched on it, but regardless to what conditions you were born into or what circumstances or challenges that you've had to face, that your identity is not found in those things, but they're found in Christ. And so you were created in his image. God has a purpose for you. There's passion down on the inside of you, and God has given you power to be able to go forth. So don't allow you being a teen mom, a teen father, to stop you from going forward and being able to fulfill your destiny, because God has great things in store for you.
Yes.
I would say the Bible says that we have to be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ God forgave you. You have to walk in forgiveness. You have to continually and daily forgive yourself, because the mistakes that you've made, the mistakes that others have made towards you, the things people have intentionally done to hurt you, those things can control your entire existence if you don't walk in forgiveness. You have to know first that God has forgiven you. And then you have to forgive those people. And with everything in you, even if you have to do it hour by hour, let it go. Yeah, he hurt me. Yeah, he's not doing this. Yeah, she's not doing that. Yeah, they don't accept me. But I forgive all of them because God has forgiven me. And I'm going to keep moving forward for these babies. And that has been the one thing that has kept me sane and has kept me alive in this process, because it's been hard. You know, you go from being teen mommy, sometimes, like in my case, to divorced mommy, and then single mommy. And it can go on and on and on. There's going to always be a struggle, young ladies and men. But if you walk in forgiveness and just let it go, you will find the power through Christ to continue. And you'll be fine. And you'll succeed.
Has everybody went with me? Yeah. The one thing that I echo is giving up is never an option. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how many ugly stares you get, no matter how many negative things people say about you and even to your face, giving up is never an option. Why? Because when you give up, they win. When you give up, your child loses. When you get up, you live in misery, you live in fear, you live in pain, you live in hurt, you live in guilt. You take on all of those negative things they say.
Yeah.
But when you choose to say, you know what, I may have not made a wise decision, but I'm not going to give up. Because when you think about it, when your child looks at you, they don't see you the way other people see you. They don't call you what other people call you. They don't think what other people think. When they look at you, they see their mommy. They see the woman who's there for them, that provides for them, that loves them, that plays with them, that even have to spank them sometime, right? They still love you. And so you have to not give up, because when you give up on their future and you give up on yours. And so you cannot give up on, yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be difficult. Yes, you're going to get tired. Yes, you're going to want to feel like, when is this ever going to end? When am I ever going to get a break? Yes, you're going to feel like that. Still don't give up. You cannot give up. Not only does your future depend on it, but you have now this innocent child who only knows you, who only knows the love you showed them. You can't give up, sweetheart. You can't.
Wow. Well, thank you all so much for sharing. I hope that you all have enjoyed this, that this has made you feel that you can be and do anything that you desire to be. You are not a statistic. There is a jewel in you. So let's give everybody a round of applause. This was absolutely phenomenal and amazing. I'm so grateful to serve you all and to share this space with you guys. And I thank you all so much. I'm going to turn it back over to Shantae now.
Oh, thank you so much, Lady Ya. You guys, let's give Lady Ya a hand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know this is past your bedtime, but there was nobody else that I was like, there's nobody but Lady Ya can do this. So I thank you so much for agreeing to it. Thank you, ladies. You guys were phenomenal, awesome. This recording is going to be great. So those who that came in and came out, thank you so much. If you're watching this on the replay, we hope that this has been a blessing to you, and we want you to share this with a teen mother, share this with a young mother, share this with a young lady who is struggling. Maybe, you know, their issue wasn't being a mother. Maybe their issue is something else. And just hearing our stories, hearing our strength, and hearing our encouragement will tell them, you know what? If they made it out, maybe I can too. So listen, but we don't want you to stop there. We want you to go to our websites. Everybody drop their websites in the comment box. Go to the ladies' website, pre-order the book. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. We have 2 books. There's a Jewel in You, and there is a 100 affirmations for young mothers. You can get both for $25. And so listen, we want you to pre-order. Pre-orders are going on now until August the 22nd. So we want you to make sure you check out one of our authors' website. It will be released September the 1st. You'll be able to get it on Amazon and other retailers. But listen, we want you to support them so that they can keep most of the profit and not have to get a royalty, right? So we thank you guys so much for tuning in. We thank you for the support. We thank you for all the encouragement. We just thank you guys. We love you so much. Mwah! We love you, we love you, love you. Listen, when you buy the book, when you pre-order it, let us know you did. Do the hashtag TAJIY. There's a Jewel in You, TAJYI, and let us know that you pre-ordered the book. So listen, we're going to end our recording. We love you. We thank you. God bless you. And listen, to every young mother out there is a jewel in you. You don't need anybody else to tell you. You don't need anybody else to remind you. When you look in the mirror every single day, you tell yourself, there's a jewel in you. We love you and have a great one.